This week, looking at this 2DS that I picked up off of eBay, it said no power. And I thought, well, of course it has no power. It has no charger. How could it have power without a charger? So I picked it up, plugged it in with a charger, and it's charging. So that's a good sign at least. But this still won't turn on. And we're going to take a look at it this week on Tech Guy Life. So the reason why this guy won't come on is because of the sleep switch. So I have done, I inadvertently while playing with this, while trying to figure out what was going on, I did manage to get it to turn on a few times, and it was when I was playing with the sleep switch. It was like I couldn't get this, you couldn't get the sleep switch to go back far enough in order to make contact, which means, oh, there it goes, finally got it. Which means the sleep switch is probably dirty and corroded or just grungy and just needs a cleaning. But you can't get to it from outside. So there you go. See, the 2DS is totally functional once you get the sleep switch to allow you to turn it on. So what we're going to do today is we're going to fix the sleep switch by getting in there and getting it cleaned, and we'll put some deoxit on it. Then the other thing we're going to do is this touchscreen is all scratched to craziness, just all over the place, just totally scratched. Same with this screen. The screen protector that's up here. This is an easy one. I could just pry this out and we could put down a new one and whatever. But this requires us to take apart the whole thing. So let's shut down the DS. Let's start taking her apart so we can replace the touchscreen with a nice fancy new one. And then we'll replace the screen protector on the top screen with a new unscratched one. Let's see if you can, there we go. There you can see the scratches that are in both sides. Like down here, there's this like blotch. There's another blotch up here that's all just scratches and rough marks. So we're going to replace those because they were, it's like there's a good old China coming to the rescue. There's the screen protector and there's the new touchscreen. So both of these were really inexpensive off AliExpress and just have them sent to your door for super cheap. And we're going to get this DS looking pretty good. It's got some other rough marks on it, but hopefully these will just come out with some good elbow grease and cleaning. Anyway, so let's do it. Now, the first thing you got to do, take these two Phillips screws out of the back. They are connected to the case because this is just a piece that flips up. If I can get it. I need something pointy. So these screws don't come out, they just stay in the case when you open it up, and that gets us to the battery, which we definitely want to remove. And definitely needs a cleaning in here too. Yuck. So now there are 10 Phillips screws holding this back case on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, luckily all 10 of those screws are exactly the same, so you don't have to worry about which one goes where. Okay, so I got my finger underneath the rear panel over here. Doesn't seem to be very many clips on it, but there is a ribbon cable attached. And there it is right there. So we kind of lift it up, lift it out a little bit, and then you can lift it out this way. So then what we're going to do is we'll get in here. Flip up the latch and disconnect the ribbon cable. So now we want to remove the side panels. Oop, drop the door. Put these up here. We'll need to give these a cleaning too. You can see the crud in all of the seams. All the plastic seams have a good amount of crud in them. So now we go for even more screws. There are 12 screws holding the motherboard down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Oh, that was a lot of screws. But again, they're all the same. So it doesn't matter where, you just got to keep them in a pile and know that that is the motherboard screws. So at least that's a good thing. So we need to remove the thumbstick controller. So that's got two tiny screws. And then remove the trigger buttons. And then you can get to the screws that hold the top panel on. So there's one and two. So now that comes out. Now we can remove the motherboard. Oh, after we disconnect a bunch of things. So we got the Wi-Fi antenna. We have two more ribbon cables, which I believe these are for the actual screens. So there's this one. And same with this one. But I think we're just going to leave him connected. We'll just kind of pick him up and we'll put him on top like that, because we don't need to actually remove him. Oh, and there's one more down here. Oh man, there's way more. Okay, so there's one little one here that you flip up from this side. And then there's a couple more little ones down here. There we go. So this one comes out. This ribbon comes out. So many ribbon cables. And there is a little bit of double-sided adhesive around the screens. So you just got to be careful, but you should be able to use a small pry tool. Actually, right here at this point, you can kind of get underneath and then just kind of lift it out. And there we go. So the screen protector for up top is just adhesive. So we can just kind of push from the back and it will peel right out like that. So there it is there. And same with the touchscreen, you can kind of push from the other side to try to get it to come up. Oh, I found a hole right there, and start pushing, and the adhesive will give way. And out she comes. Nice and easy. Okay, so I gave the inside a little bit of a clean out with some isopropyl alcohol and a cotton swab. Now I'm going to put the touchscreen in. It'll fit right back in where the old one used to be. It's very simple, very straightforward. There's two plastic layers on the screen. One has got the adhesive on it, and the other one is just a protective layer on the inside here. So we're going to take the adhesive one off. And then the touchscreen cable goes towards the bottom. And we'll just slide it into place. So we're just going to peel off the extra adhesive, or clean off the extra adhesive from the outside. Okay, here's the new lens for the outside. There is another plastic layer on the inside, which we'll have to take off before we put the LCD screen back in. So there we go. Two nicely, freshly installed, non-scratched pieces of plastic. Okay, give the buttons a clean and we'll put them back in. So one thing we got to do before we put this whole thing back together is spray the culprit sleep switch and get that cleaned up. So we just spray it with some deoxit and give it a little work back and forth, and hopefully that should take care of it. Okay, so hopefully you can learn from my mistake. Don't screw down the board until you put this part back in, because it has to kind of slip underneath the board. So, little camera problem again. It stopped recording. Didn't know when it had done it because I was so in the zone putting this back together. But I reconnected all the ribbon cables, got the shoulder buttons reinstalled. So now it's just a matter of putting in the side pieces. So this one's got the volume control. So when you put this one back on, you have to make sure the volume control is where it matches up with that, because you have to get the little switch inside the little groove. So right now I believe the volume is on max. So I just move the slider down. I'll take the piece out and then just pop it in. So there you can see that it's inside the... You can't see it because it's so far away. Hopefully I can digitally zoom in there, so you can see where that the switch, the slider is on top of this little, so that the plastic piece is on top of the slider and moving it back and forth as you move the button. So we'll put the volume at max, and then we will slide the side piece on, like so. And now the volume slider is functional again. And then the other side is pretty straightforward. Just gets popped in. One thing I noticed, and I had these two little metal spikes, these posts, and I didn't know where they went. They actually go right there, and they're just to serve as the lanyard holder. So if you're taking this apart or you're doing your own and you end up with these two little metal posts, this is where they go. They fell out when I was taking apart the thing, so I had no idea where they came from and no idea where they went. But little research, some pictures online, found where they went, and they go right there. So now that we have the sides put back in, and the buttons are back in, the back part's all back in, and everything's all screwed down, it's now time to put the back panel back on. So I gave everything a good wipe down, gave the edges of all the pieces a wipe down. I can do the outside when it's all back together, but this will help get it. So there, now it's all plugged back in, it's all clicked back on. A little crud in there. Just gonna clean that out with a little IPA. Pretty sure this was a kid's console at some point, because there was a little bit of sand in it, like there's some granules of something, and a little bit of stickiness, so it may have had some liquid damage at some point, or some liquid on it, or or it could just be sticky fingers. You never know. But yeah, so it's looking good, nice and clean, and That's it. So now we can start putting the screws back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some of the ones that are underneath the back cover. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I got those 6 installed. So now I can take the battery, put it back in, and clip the back on. And screw these down. There. So we'll give it a quick test because I can put these 4 screws in the bottom in at any time. So flip her over and see if she comes on, and she does. And there, she's back and running. And let's try the touchscreen. Go into settings, and we go to other settings and touchscreen, and it will bring up the touchscreen calibration tool. So now we can see if our touchscreen works. Okay, touchscreen all calibrated. And that's it. So now we have a scratch-free touchscreen and a scratch-free top screen. There's still a protective screen on here, which I will take off when I get it all cleaned up. I'll clean the exterior. This is a pretty beat up unit, but you know, if you want to pick up an inexpensive unit for your kids or whatever, and you're not, then you won't be so worried if they, you know, drop it, throw it around or whatever. This was definitely a good way to go. And now the sleep button is actually functioning properly after we cleaned it. So yeah, so if you see a 2DS with that they say no power, but yet it still seems to charge and everything seems to be working there, chances are the problem is here. And just to fix this, you don't need to go as far as we did with changing out the touchscreen. You can actually just, let's shut her down first, is you take off the back cover and then you can spray your contact cleaner into the bottom corner where the switch is, and then you just slide it back and forth to get it nice and working properly again. So there we go. We recovered another console from being e-waste, and now this can go and get some more use and extend its life. Yeah, it's a little bit beat up, but you know, a little cleanup here and there. Maybe I'll get some plastic restore and just see if we can get some of these scratches off. But otherwise, you know what? If it's for a kid or even for yourself, if you're not one of these people that cares about like little scratches and little dents, you can save yourself a ton of money by getting used consoles that have a little bit of wear. But you can upgrade and change the lens cover and the touchscreen so that you can get nice scratch-free versions for very little dollars. You know, ordering these from eBay or from AliExpress was not a huge expense, and it actually, honestly, wasn't that bad a disassembly and change. So you can upgrade those 2 pieces, make it so that it is totally functional again, but yet it just has a little bit of wear. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye. And we're back with some bonus footage. In case anybody was wondering if I eventually figured out that I did not connect the ribbon cable from the back of the panel to the board. Yes, I did. I did notice. So I'm just gonna connect that now. We'll pretend it never happened. Okay, it's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.